Hello and welcome to another video. Today I ran the wrong team in Go Battle League because as soon as I started running it, I ran into so many terrible leads. And no, I'm not blaming any sort of algorithm. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. I just made a bad meta read or I got incredibly unlucky, one of the two. But despite the fact that I ran into so many bad leads, I still managed to go positive with this team. So if you're not running into a lot of bad leads, I think it's actually pretty good. The way it works is you have a very solid core with Dragonite Lantern and then Legiton, always the safe swap. If you run into a Galarian Stunfisk, I think the best way to play it is to try and catch a move on your Legiton in the lead and then try and go from there. Don't try to win switch because you kind of have to get some energy advantage no matter which Pokemon goes up against it. So just try and play around with energy and win like that. Going right into the first game, we lead into an Azumarill. Yikes. Dragonite just has no play against an Azumarill. So we save swap Lickitung immediately, and they stay in, meaning they don't have an obvious response to Lickitung. The way you usually want to play if they stay into chip is you want to try and keep hold of your energy as much as possible to give yourself the best chance as possible to win the subsequent matchup when they swap out. So we try to keep hold of the energy, but we get up to almost 100, and at that point we kind of need to throw some of it. They go for another move, and then they bring in a Sableye. They really do not have a response to Lickitung. And when they have Azumarill in the lead and Sableye in the back, it's almost always Trevenant. And if it's Trevenant in the back, Lantern is just not going to be any play. I don't think I'm going to be able to farm them down with Dragonite here before they get to a move, and I don't want to spend the shield, so I decide to absorb the energy on Lantern because I'm expecting the Trevenant in the back, and again, then Lantern is just not going to be any play, and then we put it in a range where Dragonite can farm it down, come out with some energy. I don't want to throw here because it's not going to be enough to KO, and if we throw, we're gonna have less energy. We're gonna have to spend the shield anyways because it's not enough to KO. And then we just come out with less energy. So I want to overfarm instead, and that way we come out with a lot more energy for the Trevenant. Now we get to the second Dragon Claw. Can we get to the third one? Their play is probably to try and farm down. So yeah, we do get to the third Dragon Claw. And they swapped out of the Azumarill because otherwise they would have just been farmed down. So probably the right play. Very nice game. Next game, we lead into a Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Yikes, once again. It has Charm, but they're staying in again, meaning they don't have an obvious response to Lickitung. We no shield this. Lickitung can't handle a lot of charge moves and fast moves. And then they swap into Shadow Gliscor. Go up to 4 wing attacks, takes 5 for the Night Slash, and now we can get to another Body Slam. And at this point, if they let this go, we might be able to lick them down and take shielded or a switch advantage. So they're kind of forced to shield it, and they're also forced to throw some energy because otherwise we get to another Body Slam. Of course, they really want to keep hold of switch because they have a Alolan Ninetales and Dragonite. So at this point, we have a shield advantage for Lantern, and that's another way you can overcome these matchups is if you have a really terrible lead, just try and get an energy or a shield advantage on your Pokemon in the back and see if you can sweep with it. Hope there's not like a hard answer to Lantern in the back. And there isn't. It's a Runarikis. Do we get to a Surf? And 2 Surfs are enough to take out a Runarikis. And they go for a move immediately. I decide to shield it. People have started to throw the nuke a lot more, at least around my elo range, which is about 3000, 3100, because they expect that other people are not going to shield it, thinking that, well, I have 2 shields. They're probably going to bait. So there's like the bait game is just playing along. Yeah. Next game, we lead into a Shadow Lone and Sandslash. Here I like to stay in and try and catch the move on Lickitung, because you can handle the fast moves from Alolan Sandslash, and Dragonite with a lot of energy has a lot of play against Alolan Sandslash if we're going to see that matchup again in the future. So that saving all that energy of Dragonite is very nice in that matchup specifically. They bring in a Medicham, and they don't throw a move, so we actually get to another Body Slam, meaning if they want to keep switch, they're going to have to shield this. And once again, we get a shield advantage. Maybe they should have just thrown a move on Lickitung. But they have a lot of energy on Medicham at this point. But we have a Dragonclaw and Dragonite, so we can put it in and go for the move immediately. And of course, Dragonite wins CMP. So we're gonna force the last shield, and maybe the play here is to just let Dragonite go and hope Lantern can sweep with 2 shields, but I decide to shield it, and then I try to catch the next Ice Punch, because they had to on that Lantern, but I think they saw it coming. They let an Ice type, so I'm thinking they might be weak to Dragonite in the back. So that's why I'm letting Lantern go here. And also Surf only does about 38%. Thunderbolt does what, 52, 53%. So I had to go for the Thunderbolt on the Alone and Sandslash if I wanted to take it out. But now they bring in a Trevenant and they get to farm down Lantern. So now they're gonna have energy on Trevenant as well. They still have that Ice Punch and Medicham in the back. So I have to hope that their switch timer is not up yet, so that I can get to a Dragonclaw before it comes up. But no, they swap it in and they get to an Ice Punch. And unfortunately, that's a loss this time. Next game, we get a good lead into Water Gun Lantern. Finally. I don't throw a move here because it wouldn't be enough anyways. I have to take the move no matter what from Lantern, so I would rather over farm optimally before throwing my Dragonclaw. It takes 19 turns for the Thunderbolt, and then afterwards 13 turns for the Surf. So I throw right before they get to their Surf. Usually when they stay in a very bad matchup, the opponent that is, you want to consider swapping out of your lead Pokemon, because they're probably going to be weak to Dragonite in the back as well. But because it's a combo O, and I really don't want my Lantern onto their combo O, because it's just going to get walled, I decide to let my Dragonite go down so I can get Lickitung onto combo O instead. They swap into Double, we swap in Lantern. This is pretty neutral matchup. It takes 3 double kicks for every body slam, so I need to be aware of that. I also need to be aware that the combo O doesn't get to farm down my Lantern, because combo O with energy is very threatening to Lickitung. So I really don't want to leave my Lantern in a position where it can get farmed down, which is why when I go for this Surf, I undercharge it to leave the double with a little bit of HP, because otherwise the combo O would have been able to come in whilst my Lantern was switch locked. So now you saw I didn't throw the spark either. I want to leave the double with this amount of HP. So now the combo O doesn't get any more energy. I of course then afterwards throw in terrible timing, but the combo doesn't get to a close combat. And now we can take down both the combo and the double with Lickitung. Very nice. Next game, we lead into another Shadow Alone and Sandslash. It's become so popular, my elo range. Don't know if you're seeing it as well. I catch it once again on Lickitung. It makes so much sense for a Lowland Sandslash to throw after 6, because it does. You don't want to throw immediately. It seems too obvious to most people. And the opponent also doesn't want to allow me to get to superpower before they throw their Ice Punch. So it makes so much sense for them to throw after 6, which is why I catch there. They bring in an Azumarill. Once again, they don't really have a response to Lickitung. And I'm thinking here, if I shield this, they really want to keep switch, of course. If I shield here, they're also going to shield. And then the added up lick damage is going to leave the Azumarill in spark down range. So now I get the shield, they're still forced to throw the move, and now I'm going to be able to spark them all the way down. So if they want to keep switch, they're going to have to just allow my Lantern to spark them all the way down whilst only taking 1 play rough, which doesn't do all that much damage, so it's fine. So we can get so much energy. But they do actually decide to swap out into Sandslash. And again, Surf is not enough from this range, so we go for the Thunderbolt. We take out the Sandslash. And what do they have in the back? It's a Frostlass. Dragonite just has no play at all in this game. Go for the first Surf. 2 Surfs plus a lot of Sparks is enough to take out a Frostlass. So that's what I'm going for here. Go for the shield. It's the Shadow Ball. Very nice. And now we should be able to get to 2 more Surfs. Go for the first one. Go for the second one. But their switch timer comes up, so they get to catch it on a Azumarill. Nice catch by my opponent. but I remember the Azumarill has no energy and is very low on HP as well, so go for no bubbles to get more energy and Lantern. They get to another move, but it's just an avalanche, so we can live it and get to a Thunderbolt as well. The opponent realizes that it's game over. Next game, lead into Bastiodon. I hate Bastiodon. Swap in Legiton, they swap in Medicham, and go for Pop, of course. But Legiton can win Zero Shields against Medicham, even if Medicham has Pop. So they go for another Pop. Now we have 2 Body Slams at this point. Is it enough to take out the Medicham? Go for the first one. It's no shielded. Go for the second one. It's probably gonna be shielded. The opponent really wants to keep alignment, but they don't shield. And we get switch advantage. So we can get Lantern onto Bastiodon. That was probably a big misplay by my opponent to give me switch advantage. Because we've seen this team before. I'm basically only showing this game because it is so satisfying to beat this team. They swap in Victory Bell trying to catch a serve. We swap in Dragonite and farm them all the way down. Come up with a superpower, throw it on CMP, grab the shield, grab the energy off of Bastiodon, and at this point, Lantern should be able to deal with this wall-face Pokemon. I find it so satisfying to beat a Bastiodon like this in a game where we really shouldn't be able to beat it, because I just hate Bastiodon so much. Next game, lead into an Azumarill once again. So many yikes leads. Swap into Legiton, they swap in Toxicroak. This is not that bad of a matchup. They throw off the 6 counters. I think you should definitely go to 8 just to at least threaten the Dynamic Punch or the Sludge Bomb. Because if you only throw the Mud Bomb, Legiton will be able to get to 2 moves without shielding. So we actually force the shield. And we put the Toxicroak. Like we get another Body Slam off, putting the Toxicroak at very low HP. Meaning we might be able to Dragon Breath it down before it gets to a move on Dragonite. Before it gets to a threatening move on Dragonite. It did have the Mud Bomb. But again, we have a shield advantage on Lantern. Can Lantern sweep in the back? They have Altaria. Go for the Thunderbolt. Does quite a bit. And I decided to go for the shield here. This was a pretty bad shield because they only did 15 Dragon Breath. It takes 15 for the Sky Attack and 20 for the Moonblast. And the Azumarill also has a bit of energy. I decide to not throw here, thinking a Thunderbolt is not enough. I want to come out with as much energy as possible. They threw all of their energy there. So I want to undercharge this in order to try and farm it down, come out with as much energy as possible. And we just about get the farm down on Altaria. Very nice. Come out with so much energy. Go for the first Thunderbolt. It does about half. And then I go for the Surf. Pretty debatable. I thought in the moment that if I land the Surf, my Dragonite would be able to handle the Azumarill. I think that was pretty optimistic. But they decide to shield it, and because they did that, we're going to be able to outpace to a Thunderbolt. Very nice. We take out the Azumarill. Once again, Lantern sweeps in the back. In the last game, we lead into Deoxys. Pretty neutral lead. And they decide to throw after only 5, meaning it's only a Psycho Boost, but it's a Shadow Dragonite. You have to shield pretty much everything. That's another good thing about this team. You have one quite frail Pokemon in Dragonite, and then 2 tanks that don't really need shields in the back. I go for the superpower on the Umbreon, and then bring in Lantern. We don't really have a good response to Umbreon. Legiton is a very bad response to it, so Lantern is probably better. Plus, I think it might be a Nidoqueen in the back, because that's like the old Defense Deoxys Umbreon Nidoqueen team. I couldn't really think of anything else at the moment, so I bring in Lantern. Go for the Thunderbolt. Fun fact, I think I have mentioned it before. If Umbreon doesn't have an energy lead, Lantern actually wins the Zero Shields straight Thunderbolt. According to the Sims, Lantern goes straight Surf, which is why it loses to Umbreon in the Zero Shields, according to the Sims. But if you just go straight Thunderbolt and you have a very good Lantern, you're going to be able to win the Zero Shields here. But of course, because the Umbreon had that energy advantage, that's not going to happen. But now they are energy dry. I decided to bring in Dragonite because energy on Dragonite is a lot more valuable than energy on Lickitung, because it hits so much harder. Go for the superpower on a Alolan Ninetales, it lands. And now, can Lickitung clean up this game? I'm thinking that this is the move I want to shield, because I don't think Ninetales is going to get to a move. And we overfarm to right before they get to their Psycho Boost. Go for the Body Slam. And now, can we outpace the Alolan Ninetales before it gets to a Weather Ball? Go for the first Body Slam. Can we get there? Yes, we can. I don't even think a Weather Ball would have been quite enough to KO the Lickitung from this range, but guess we'll never know. That was the last battle for today, and overall this video wasn't too much about the team, but more about showing you some plays and giving you a better understanding of game mechanics and all that. So I hope you learned something about that. Fun fact of the day, Lickitung versus Pop Medi, as you saw me play, is IV dependent in the Zero Shields, so my opponent probably didn't have a rank 1, but it was very, very close. You can't depend on winning the Zero Shields there every time with Lickitung. And also, Lickitung beats non-Pop Medi, not only in the Zero Shields, but also in the 2 Shields. It is very close in the 2 Shields, but according to the Sims, it should be the case, and we trust the Sims. Other than that, I hope you like what you see. If you feel like you learned something or you like the video, then like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.